termite mound in the foreground as well. It's got a bit of grass on it. How's that, James? A bit forward? Good. Oh, lots of different layers here, and I'm glad I'm not challenged with showing you this on the camera. There's a bit of technical work there for James, but everything from the termite mound in the foreground to the hills rolling away in the distance. That's looking all the way towards the escarpment of the Drakensberg Mountains, Bushbuck Ridge. And then just all different layers and depths of cloud that sun is busy disappearing into. Always a very special time, sunset. Both just in the sort of the aesthetics of it, obviously just the beauty of it, the views of it, but also the feeling you get as a human. I think we've been looking at sunsets for millennia, and maybe just to cause a lot of fear in us. These days we're not that worried about the dark anymore. Often just inspires a feeling of sort of great emotion, of awe and happiness and beauty. And those are fantastic things to feel. Another area that I find really beautiful, it might be tricky to look at it, but James, just all those little hills in the foreground, or shall I say in the distant foreground. You just get all these slight different layers and hues of color in there. There's lots of mist floating around in there, still showing you that there's lots of moisture towards the mountains. And there's just a great sense of mystery. Ever since I was a little kid, I've loved the distant mountains, the blues, the colors they make, and maybe just the promise of exploration. Maybe even a little bit of magic in there. It really is gorgeous out here. Everything from the trees in the foreground, the clouds. What a stunning wild earth we live on. What we're going to do is just drive a little bit again, just change our perspective slightly. We might spend another few minutes showing you a slightly different angle in the sunset. Again, that view, those little koppies, it's just very, very beautiful, just that whole area there. I think this is one of the most beautiful ways I've seen those hills in. It's just lots of low hills, or what we call koppies in the foreground, little buttresses almost. And behind them just the different ridges all the way to the foothills of the escarpment. Still quite warm out here, but the temperature just dropping a few degrees. You hear a crested barbet calling in the background. A few crickets are starting to call. I'm sure right at this moment, right now, there's lions and leopard out there busy stretching, getting their muscles loose for the evening. Hyenas getting active. A lot of your diurnal animals getting ready for the night. And through all of this, the earth is turning, the mountains are steady, and because of that movement, we see the sun setting. And I hope you forgive me sometimes if I try and explain this to you. It's not... I would have loved to have been Shakespeare to do this really well. But it is fun to try and just maybe add a little bit more understanding into this amazing environment around us. Everything from those hills to the lilac-breasted roller. James just spotted him landing down there. He just wants to have a quick dust bath before the sun is fully down. Fortunately, the light is very low now, so you can't make out all those brilliant colors that these birds are so well known for. Just flying off there. Fantastic. You can easily understand why people had to, as they evolved along the route of our history, why things like poetry and arts and expression had to develop. You can't have all these different stimuli around you, all these amazing things and all this amazing nature, and not want to have some deeper appreciation of it, something beyond the science, something deeper than the research. You can see why people become inspired for that kind of stuff. So just try and get these big trees in the foreground. I don't know which other way to look at it. It's just all very beautiful. Big knobthorn trees. Often look at these trees when you drive past here. Some lush grass underneath it. Often have impala and zebra grazing here. Still with that magnificent backdrop of the sun setting. Actually, the aftermath of the sun setting. The sun's already set. It's now just catching the last light. What an amazing planet we live on. Just had some good news, Jan, saying the power's back up, so we should be able to continue the drive without a problem. And also to think that there's a sunset 24 hours a day somewhere in the world. More than once, many somewheres in the world, and a sunrise 24 hours a day. Depending on where you are right now, some of you might be in a place where the sunset's still many hours away, but it's good to stop and look at it. Some days it's more inspirational. Days like this, you can almost get lost in that sunset, but it's a magic part of the day. It's happening all the time. I'm going to drive on a little bit before I get myself into a dangerous position of starting to sound a little bit syrupy. But I really do. I love this time of the day. Since I was a little kid, sunset time in the bush is just so powerful. It's a very inspirational time. There literally is magic around, and yeah, it's a very special place, a very special time to share.